It says it's waiting for you.
It's waiting for me.
Oh, waiting for Kruger sightings. 4:20, which is an hour.
Okay, we are live. Thanks, Nadav. Folks, welcome to Mala Mala Game Reserve. And welcome to today's live streaming. That is Mike in the background. I'm going to show you who that was, who the guilty culprit was. It was Mike.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just waiting for the YouTube ads to be done.
Yeah, so Mike has got the phone there to be reading comments and responding to comments. And today we have Nick driving us.
Good day, everyone.
Okay, so Nick is chosen specially today because we are with some special animals here. In screen there you can see two Cape hunting dogs. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on them. And you can see they are lying in the shade there. You can just see the tails wagging. There are another 15 behind Mike. Now I'm just going to show you where they are. They are lying in the shade under that tree just over here, the tree that's in screen. Now it is a very hot day here. It's about 30 degrees Celsius. So these dogs, these Cape hunting dogs or wild dogs, are currently just conserving their energy and lying in the shade, as are we. Now we are hoping that as it cools down, that these Cape hunting dogs will get active, and when they do get active, they usually go and hunt around dawn and dusk when it's a bit cooler. We're hoping that the full moon tonight doesn't delay their hunting. Sometimes when it's a full moon, they might hunt a bit later, and we're hoping that that is not the case today. We're hoping that they still use a bit of daylight hours to hunt. They're very efficient hunters. So for that reason, when they do hunt, they are quite difficult to keep up with, but because they are such good hunters, if we are able to keep up with them, there is a slight possibility of seeing a kill. And that's why we have chosen the original Stig today to be our driver. Okay. So I don't know.
Mrs. Lapwing commenting, wow, you guys have found it all in the last 3 days. We've had a very, very lucky last few drives here.
I'm just going to try and set this up here, pardon my shaking, and then I'm going to also have a squiz at some of those comments. Let's see if this works. Get that horizon nice and straight, eh, Nick?
Good luck.
Good luck. How's that? Oh, it's teetering on an edge here. Okay, nobody breathe. Okay.
Alright, so Ben McMahon asking what's their percentage of successful hunts. So a lot of the literature and that I've read says that they are the most successful predator. Certainly here they're probably the most reliable when it comes to when you're following them to actually make a kill. But like I said, that literature says sometimes as high as 80% or even 90% of their hunts are successful. Here that doesn't seem to be the case. It's probably closer to 50-50. But even so, as a comparison with the lions and leopards, perhaps 5% of their hunts are successful. And Shrude Matadin asking, is there a chance the lions will smell them? The lion's actually quite far from here, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 k's, so I doubt that they would be able to smell them. If they were to come across the lions or another predator, there'd probably be some sort of fight. But the dogs are not going to get involved with a big pride of lions, certainly not the Kambula pride, where there's more than 20 lions there.
Amar Haynes asking Mike, do you like watching the prey perish?
I do indeed, Amar. It's one of the more exciting parts of my job.
Is this our one-eared wild dog? No, this is a different pack. We can currently see only 2 in frame here. The rest of the pack are lying behind us, but there's no space for us to squeeze into the shade with them there, so we've decided to sit with the 2 for now.
Someone asking, JS asking, can you compare the jaws of wild dog and hyena? The dog's jaws are nowhere near as strong as hyenas. Hyenas have got ridiculously strong jaws, but even if you look at a hyena's head and skull, it's so much bigger and heavier. There's a lot more muscle on a hyena just to power those jaws. So they're not as strong as the dogs, but they certainly just have different types of hunting.
Okay, got a question here. Why do we drive open vehicles? So we do drive off-road. The animals are very used to these vehicles. So in order to get close up to them, we do get a lot of photographers here, and a lot of the rangers take photos as well. And we are able to follow these animals off-road in this area. And the more car there is, the more difficult it is to drive off-road. It's much easier for everybody to just duck and dive when branches come your way, than to try and squeeze under branches when you got a roof over your head.
And Terence Gibb was asking, how often do wild dogs hunt? So this is quite a big pack. They're going to need to hunt pretty much every day, and maybe even as much as twice a day.
Someone saying give him an impala. So we are currently on our airstrip. In a moment I will just we'll have a quick scan around, but the impalas do like to come up to the airstrip in the evening time, so this is exactly what we're hoping for. During the daytime they'll go, especially on a day like today, they'll go and find some water to drink, go graze and browse in the shade, especially now when it's very hot, and then as it gets cooler they'll come up to the airstrip and rest on the airstrip for the night. And they do that because it is nice and open, they can see predators coming, and they like to all congregate on the airstrip, just so that there's many ears and eyes to look out for predators. So we are hoping that these, when the impalas do start coming to the airstrip, these dogs are maybe able to intercept them. The Dove, my record is seeing 4 wild dog kills in 20 minutes in Kruger, 3 impala and a scrub hare. So no wonder you're so keen on the dogs today. We're also pretty keen on dogs. I don't know about you guys. I don't know. Do you have a favorite when it comes to?
My favorite's still the lions, just because we get to see them a little bit more often. If we saw the dogs as much, it'd certainly be my favorite. But we don't really get to know the different packs of Cape hunting dogs as well as we get to know the lion prides. But even so, it's always fun to watch them, and it's even aside from just the animals themselves, just trying to keep up with them and watching how they're running around, it's always very exciting.
So I got a question here, do they ever den on mala mala?
So not this pack, but the one that we had the other day with the one ear, she denned here last year. Unfortunately, she lost her pups, and then one of the other packs denned in the far south of the year, or actually moved their den onto the southern end of Mala Mala, and raised their pups there. But we haven't had a den or successful den from a big pack for about 4 years now. So we, fingers crossed, we'll have a pack this year.
Cholo, nice to see you, and thank you for telling all your friends to tune in. And I hope you are safe over there in the US. I'm sure you're missing South Africa, and it's nice to see some South Africans tuning in from abroad. Ben was asking a little bit earlier, Ben McMahon was asking a little bit earlier about, does a larger pack make for more efficient hunts?
Definitely. It's a bit of a trade-off. Having a big pack, they're going to be more effective in keeping an eye on the impala and running them down, but then there's just more mouths to share it with. There was a question from Ben as well, why they're such efficient hunters, and that just comes down to how they hunt. So they pretty much, here their strategy is just to run through the bush more or less in a line and flush anything out, and then just run it into the ground and wear it out, where the cats tend to sort of stalk and pounce on animals. So they're more ambush hunters is the cat strategy. However, here where we are now on the airstrip, the cheetah, this is a pretty good area for cheetah too. Interestingly, though, the cheetah and the dogs don't seem to use the same area. You kind of either see one or the other. So we've been seeing, or fortunately been seeing, the dogs almost every day. But the cheetah, we haven't seen any for, I want to say, 2-3 weeks now.
Okay, then legit Spliff asking a question there. Can I just see it there quickly? I've just forgotten it. Please try and capture footage of the dogs hunting and eating live prey. Legit Spliff, if you go onto our YouTube channel, Peter caught some action with a pack of 2 dogs just a couple of days ago, and he's just uploaded a video to our YouTube channel. You can go and have a look at it, and you can witness how the dogs are feeding on the carcass, and see how a hyena steals the kill from the carcass. It is an, right?
A hyena.
A hyena. I always thought it's
not a
an
vowel,
before.
you barbarian.
But what about before H? Surely it's an.
I don't know. I'm sure we'll get a million comments.
Okay, well, you guys can help us out.
Checking out the Gareth's grammar here.
And then Cholo just saying that, are you sure Trevor knows watching? Trevor, if you are watching, I hope you are. Otherwise, Cholo, you can tell him to watch. Camrad asking if wild dog, Cape hunting dogs, and what else have we been calling them?
So Cape hunting dog, painted wolf is another name, wild dog. They're all pretty much synonymous. It means the same thing. It's just across their range they've been called various things. Here we prefer to use Cape hunting dog because it's not a domestic dog. Also forgive Gareth for his clumsiness with the camera there, but got it right, I hope. Yeah. But yeah, they're called many different things, but painted wolf is perhaps the prettiest name for them, but it's not one that gets used too often, sadly.
Has Trevor ever visited your game sanctuary? He is the most famous South African living in the US and talks about wildlife in South Africa. I don't believe he has.
No, sadly no. It would be quite fun to have him around though.
Yeah, he could do this chat instead of us. I'm sure he'd have some interesting things to say about wild dogs.
JS asking anything in common between wild dogs and the dingoes of Australia. So Australia's dingoes, as I understand, are actually domestic dogs that were brought over by the sort of Polynesians that would have colonized Australia at one stage, and they since become feral. So they're feral domestic dogs that have returned to the wild. Where these, the Cape hunting dogs, it's a completely separate species to the domestic dog, and actually one of the oldest of the canine family. They're not able to interbreed with domestic dogs at all. Unfortunately, though, they are related enough that they can spread the same diseases. So even though we see them fairly regularly here, they're very rare animals because diseases like canine distemper and rabies has wiped them out in quite big areas of their range.
So if some of you have been asking where we are at Mala Mala Game Reserve. We are bordered the Kruger National Park, and we have no fences along any of our boundaries. We are sandwiched between the Kruger National Park and the Sabi Sands Game Reserve. We are lucky enough to be under lockdown on this property, so we are trying to bring all of the wildlife and nature that happens here, everything that happens on the property, to you in your living rooms.
Should we go around to the other?
Okay, folks, so we're just going to have a bit of change of scenery here. We are going to go and have a look at the rest of the wild dogs. So I'm just going to pick this up and then just give you a view of what we have around us. So they are lying under that tree there, center of screen.
So, Anne Owens asking, isn't it about time to den? So, not quite yet, but very, very soon. And those two that we were looking at seem to be the alpha male and female. He was showing quite a bit of interest in her a bit earlier. And her teats do seem to be a little more full. So we suspect those are the alpha male and female, and then these are the rest of the pack, perhaps last year's youngsters as well as the non-breeding adults. Jay is asking how far are we from Mala Mala Resort itself. So the camp itself is about a kilometer from here. We're at our airstrip at the moment waiting for the dogs to get active.
And for those of you who are watching yesterday's live stream with the Kambula Pride, they were seen this morning. And they were seen this morning, if you can see those little hills on the horizon there, that's where they were seen. So as the crow flies, I'd say that's about, what did you say, Nick? 3 kilometers. So Peter's looking for them. If he finds them, he's going to try and stream them on Facebook, on Later Sightings Facebook page. We're not sure if Pete has found them yet, but he is looking for them. Nice to see one up and about there. How's it working in terms of the audio that you are hearing out there? Is the timing, is it in sync with the camera?
It's a little bit out.
Is it?
See, there's that one that's just moving.
Okay, but my voice? You don't know. Okay. Craig Lever.
Yeah. And Yasharan, are you guys live right now? Answer, yes, we can confirm we are live right now. And Craig Lever, the crows fly there because everyone wants to be at Mala Mala.
So Craig is another ranger who is not on he is on lockdown, but not at Mala Mala at the moment. Welcome, Craig. I'm sure you're missing us, yeah? We're certainly missing you.
Terence Gibbs, is it true that the alpha is the only one to raise pups, even if it's not her own? So interestingly, we actually did have that situation here about 4 years ago, the last time one of the bigger packs denned, where one of the other females gave birth, and the alpha female raised those pups along with her own, even though they were about a month apart in age. So it was quite strange seeing her nursing her own pups and then the other female's pups, which were about a month younger. So there's quite a big size difference, pretty obvious that they weren't from the same litter. But yeah, they were able to raise those pups successfully until they did move the den and they all became mobile.
So before we get any comments about our counting skills, I have just counted. There are 10 right here. There are another 3 where we just came from. The one was out of view, so that's 13. So there must be more lying in the shade elsewhere close by to us. And then there are a few people commenting about the audio is good. Thanks for that.
Is Nadav one of the rangers? No, he's not, but he's probably as good as.
Yeah, and at the moment probably the most important part, the cog in the machine.
Christopher Hall asking if the dogs hunted successfully this morning. We actually don't know. When we first found them, they were running around on the airstrip just playing and that. They seemed pretty well fed, so my guess is that they had caught an impala earlier on in the day. Mia K asking, are there any natural rivals in the area? So for them, the lions are quite a big threat, and then a very regular enemy of theirs is the hyenas. We did put up a video earlier today on Malamala's YouTube channel showing exactly that, where the pack, where the females only got one ear, it's just a pack of 2 that caught an impala, and a hyena pretty much immediately arrived and stole their kill from them. Fortunately, they had a good feed, and that was maybe 500 meters from here yesterday morning. So we're wondering actually if those 2 packs will come together. Obviously this big pack will have a massive advantage over such a small pack of only 2.
We've got a lot of rangers that are tuning in from home here. Just a shout out to all of you guys. I know you all must be just desperately wanting to be back here. I think we're quite fortunate to be here, but I know from yesterday's drive everybody was calling, which road we're on, and it's good to have you guys join us. We thinking of all of you guys at home. We know you guys like being outdoors just as much as us.
JS asking how did you know where to find them? So we did see them here this morning, and they were more or less found by accident. We were looking for the lions that we were live streaming with last night when we came across these dogs, and then also with one of the leopards, a Piccadilly female who's just given birth in the koppies to the north of our camp. I'm not sure that we'd be able to find her this afternoon, and even if we did find her, she's probably at her den, so we don't view the cubs until they're about 6 weeks old. So thank you for that comment, Jonty.
That's Mike that's shaking the camera with his laughter.
Yeah, so we're going to be leaving the Piccadilly female to herself for a while until she's successfully raised her cubs past 6 weeks. And Faisal, I'm actually not sure what the name of this pack is. I don't recall seeing such a big pack here for quite some time, so I couldn't tell you, but I'm sure there's quite a few people on this channel that might be able to help you out there. If you do know, folks, if you could comment. Painted Wolf asking, do any prey alarm call for hyena? Not too often, actually. Interestingly, the animals, provided they're healthy, they don't seem too concerned by hyena, but every now and then they will call, particularly when the hyena rush them to just kind of test who in the herd is limping or showing any signs that they're going to be easier to catch.
Nadav getting excited there, seeing the one standing up, saying our rate around 5, they'll all be up. We're hoping so, Nadav. Ben McMahon was asking a little bit earlier about how often do hyenas hunt?
So hyenas are pretty much always, not necessarily hunting actively, but certainly on the prowl. It's actually crazy. Yeah, we can drive around and never see a hyena, and then either we're watching these Cape hunting dogs or lion or leopard make a kill, and the hyenas just seem to pop out of the woodwork within minutes, sometimes even less. The hyenas are on the scene. About a month ago I was watching one of the lion prides, a Torchwood pride, quite spread out, and between the 4 of them, one managed to catch a hyena, catch an impala, but the other lionesses were still trying to find her when I used the hyenas and followed the hyenas in to find where she had made the kill in a thicket. And they actually the 2 hyenas got to her before the rest of her sisters got there. So the hyenas are just hyper alert, always on the lookout for a meal. If these dogs do make a kill though, there's enough of them to defend that kill from all but the biggest pack of hyena. Amar asking if Pete finds the lions or we understand them over the radio. Luckily, Pete's not in charge of the radio today. He's got Yaku, who's a lot more coherent.
So JS asking how does one get to Mala Mala from Johannesburg? So you can either drive from Johannesburg, or you can fly from Johannesburg to Skakuza and get a transfer from Skakuza, which is pretty much on the southern end of Mala Mala, to the camp. Or you can private charter plan and fly directly to the airstrip where we currently are. Or if you really want to, you could probably walk or hitchhike.
And Robin Sewell just confirming what we were saying about Pete's terrible English. And then Friday asking, is the anti-poaching team still out? They are always out and always on patrol here. Sadly, we can never let our guard down, but there's always actually a number of different teams in different places. It's one of the reasons that we still have wildlife to see, is us and our neighbors, the Kruger National Park especially, very effective in protecting this area.
Please have the hosts introduce themselves for latecomers. Okay, so we have some Cape hunting dogs just over there. We have Nick, who has taken on the driving duties today. Good luck for later, Nick.
Thank you.
And then we have Mike Kirkman. He's part of the furniture here at Mala Mala. He's been around for at least 40 years. And then myself, Gareth. You are 48, Mike.
38.
38.
That's okay.
That's enough.
Yeah, 38 and a half.
Okay.
And Jay is saying if you hitchhiked here, you'd arrived in a body bag. I think it would be more accurate to say you'd arrive in a doggy bag, perhaps. Tess Tiger asking, do spotted hyenas and wild dogs fight and actually kill each other? It's normally not their goal to kill one another. It can happen, certainly, particularly if they get very violent. But yeah, we've got quite a number of funny videos of the wild dogs biting the hyenas' backsides and nipping at their hind legs, just to drive them off and harass them than to actually kill them. The dogs do kill things by disemboweling them, which is one of the reasons they've got somewhat of a bad reputation, particularly in older texts. But it is a very efficient, quick way, though very gruesome, of killing an animal. But certainly a lot quicker than the lions, which strangle their prey to death, which can take quite some time depending on what it is that they're killing.
Hi Riza from Indonesia, welcome. Folks, these comments are coming in quick and fast, so we're going to respond to them as we can. But just bear with us if we don't get around to your comment.
And then Yusuf, it's one of those things where we never know when these dogs are going to get active. So it's going to go from boring to hyperactive, all action, very rapidly. It's crazy. With the lions, when they wake up, they take about an hour or more sometimes to get into gear. With the dogs, they go from sometimes sleeping to running in about a minute. So it goes... We just have no idea how this is going to turn out, and that's why Nick's kind of has to be foot on the pedal, ready to go.
Joe, welcome. JD Wellman. JD Wellman reckons 23 minutes until that happens. Nadav has already said 5 o'clock. Nadav, time's running out here. See, there's 8 minutes to 5 now. There's a bit of conversation going on about hitchhiking through the reserve. Is this Adam Parker?
I'm not sure. Herbert asking, can you give us an idea on the population? So I've seen quite a few different figures, but certainly in the Kruger National Park, the area that we're in, or the greater Kruger National Park anyway, the numbers probably between 180 and maybe as many as 250. What has maybe not really that well known is that the park has actually been able to expand in size quite substantially into Mozambique and up into Zimbabwe. So it's hard to say if their numbers are going down or they're just becoming more diluted over a bigger area. Hopefully it's the latter, that they're just able to spread out and use a much bigger area. These dogs need huge areas to roam. One of the packs that was monitored here, I believe their range was about 900 square kilometers. A lion pride in the same area, its average is about 200 square kilometers. So it's huge range, and it needs to include a lot of impala to feed all these dogs. They do seem to be getting a little bit more active, and that...
Nadav is smiling right now.
Nadav,
let's just
you've got 6 minutes to be correct. Robin, your guess is awfully close to the 23 minutes Joe's claimed, but I think saying 28 minutes, you need to give us a hard time.
Yeah, she's testing our maths here now.
Yeah. We're looking at a Land Rover's clock, remember, which is notoriously unreliable. It might be showing us the time in Taiwan, for all we know.
Johan Duplessis, watching from close by, Nullspruit. Welcome, Johan. Nice to have a local on the channel. I think it's just wait here for now, eh? Ooh, and a dove.
So one of the best parts of watching these dogs get active is they're all going to start greeting one another, maybe have 5-minute play session, and it sounds like you're rattling a whole cage full of canaries because the twittering and that goes on is crazy. It's not a sound you'd expect a dog to make. And thank you, Yasharan144.
Cholo just making the... wait.
Yeah, Cholofo. These animals are carrying on. Their world hasn't changed nearly as dramatically as ours. But yeah, we're actually quite glad to talk about something else and let you watch something else on TV and on social media than what's happening in the rest of the world. So I think we'll stick to the wildlife, and hopefully they'll entertain us a lot more than what else is going on right now.
And then Justin Funny Cat just saying a big thanks to our rangers and anti-poaching teams. Just go down. Teams, South Africans and people the world over are in your debt for your contribution to conservation. Thanks for that, Justin. I'm sure all the anti-poaching teams appreciate that comment as well. They are working incredibly hard right now. Thanks, JS. Appreciate the comment there.
Terry Harris and Port Alfred. I didn't even know you guys had TV down there yet. I used to spend quite a little bit of time down there. It's a beautiful part of the world as well. And Tabasani Buthelezi.
Hey, Tubbs!
The wild Zulu from Richards Bay. He's also one of our colleagues and a big favorite. We're definitely going to get him presenting these things one day. Yeah. He's a true character. And the dove got 3 minutes to kick off, according to you. So one of the dogs going through his morning stretches there as well. Joe Jacinto, we too are waiting for action.
Naledi, hello from Boston, welcome. You guys ever seen black maned lions?
We have, and those male lions you saw yesterday, Ben, the Gowrie males, they've got some pretty impressive manes, but we had another pair of male lions here, the Clarendon males, that used to have particularly impressive manes. If you go into Nadav's channel, Kruger latest sightings, you'll actually see a video of them killing another lion that I posted there. I believe it's Buffalo Stops Lions Fighting, or 3 lions fighting, and you'll see the mane on those lions and also see them kind of at their rawest and most brutal as well.
Gonna try and zoom in on these two a little bit. They look like they.
The current time here is 5 o'clock, 1 minute to 5. So Nadav, unless you've got some firecrackers you can lob in from Joburg, they're not gonna get active. I think Joe's next. He called it 23 minutes past 5. We'll see if he's right. Anyone else that can guess what time these dogs are gonna get moving, you're welcome to post it, and we'll see who wins. Sorry, Nadav. Maybe next time.
Oh man.
Petro, sorry, saying 1:15. But we'll see. Show the wildebeest behind us.
Okay.
So folks, guys, just gonna pan around to, there's a wildebeest that just appeared behind us. It's a little bit far off. I don't think the dogs can see him from where they're lying so flat on the grass. Normally the dogs here wouldn't really stand a chance with a big bull wildebeest, but there's enough of them that they certainly could give it a try. Joe Wellman revising his to 16 minutes past 5. Joe,
I don't know about that.
I think Petro, you two are going to have to discuss how close your guesses are. Robin and Brian Elmer also pretty close together there. Robin Hester, 32 minutes past 5. Friday asking, will you do a late night live stream? Unfortunately, we can't. With the spotlights and that, it's not too easy to film. Also, which animals we can film will be very, very limited. At least now in the daylight, we can kind of show you a broad variety of animals. And Pensive asking, do you have any resident cheetah? We don't really. There are a lot of cheetah that are fairly nomadic and move through this area, but none that we can guarantee to go and see, which is true actually of a lot of our animals, perhaps except for the leopards. And even with our resident leopards, knowing they're here and knowing exactly where that particular here is not always too easy.
Okay, so it looks like two of those dogs are up. Should we go and see what they're doing there?
Maybe just reverse around.
Yeah, let's just reverse a bit and then we'll see. Okay folks, so two of the dogs in the distance there have just stood up. You can go in there. So we're just going to see what's happening from here. I think they might, there they are. Okay. Yeah, let's just wait here for now, I think. You can stand by right here, I think. Okay, so if you have a look at that tree center of screen, I'm going to try and zoom in. See a little bit of activity there.
The alphas as well.
Yeah. So they might come this way. We're just going to stand by here.
Oh, Nadav is kind of trying to claim back here. I don't know. Nadav, we're going to give you another 3 minutes leeway here. After that, I think it goes on to... Yaku Kroblo actually called it a little bit closer. And there was a question about snakes. Yes, there are snakes here, JS. We see both black mambas and worm slungs, but not that often Some would argue fortunately, but to see a snake in the wild is actually quite amazing, even though it is very rare, or that's perhaps why it is so amazing. I think I've found the lines here. So Friday asking, can we go to the lion sighting? So there is another team of ours that's currently looking for the lions. They haven't had any luck yet. So we're gonna stick with the dogs, and the bird in the hand is better than two in the bush, quite literally. It looks like there's a little bit of action about to happen with these dogs.
Here you go.
There we go.
Okay, so who's on the money there?
Henry Dube called.
Let's try and get to the west one. Sure, I can smell them, eh?
Oh, hold behind you, hold.
Okay folks, so just bear in mind now, if these dogs start running, it might get a little bit lumpy here, so just bear with me. I've got to hold it with one hand here and film with the other. We do have and we're going to try and stick with these dogs as far as possible. Okay, well. This is pretty cool. So he got this right here, I'm curious. Watch them all lie down now again.
Christopher Hall called 507 at 506. Chris Hall, I feel like you're cheating there, Bagger.
Okay, so this is why rangers get very excited about wild dogs. When they do get active, it's very entertaining. What do we have there? There's a herd of impalas way in the distance that has heard this commotion with the wild dogs. They're right on the southern end of the airstrip. Mike's going to try and zoom in there, but I'm afraid they've already run. Oh, you can still see them running, maybe. There are some impalas on the airstrip there. That's a good sign for us. I don't know if you can see them. I don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction here. Yeah, I am. We just can't see it nicely on the screen. They're just crossing the airstrip there. It's quite interesting. I would have thought they would have heard that. Doesn't look like they have.
Yeah, so a couple of folks asking where we are. So we are at our airstrip, and it is unfortunately right on our western boundary. We're hoping that the dogs will continue down to the river, go eastwards, or now I'm hoping they go southwards towards where that big herd of impalas is busy crossing the runway.
Seems like it was a false start for now, eh?
Yeah, a couple of folks have already mentioned the smell of these dogs. It is a pretty unique smell. I think if you have a dog at home and you've got an old blanket, if you were to wet it and then mix some socks in with it, perhaps you'd get an idea of the unique odor that these dogs have. I wouldn't say it's a bad smell, it's just a distinctive, perhaps.
Mark, I'm going to come leave my laundry at your room for you. There's one just behind us here that I think we'll just focus on for now. He's got his head up, he has been rolling around.
So JS, the Sand River actually has quite a bit of water in it at this time. We had some rain just a few days ago, and then we actually have rain predicted for the next 3 days. So hopefully it'll be able to stay nice and full right through the winter. Salim, so we are in the Mala Mala Game Reserve, which is part of the greater Kruger National Park in the north and eastern side of South Africa.
Did anybody enjoy those dogs running around? It was a good description that Mike gave earlier, like shaking a cage full of canaries, the noise that came out of them. I don't know if anybody could hear that noise.
Henry Doobie asking, would the wild dogs try a human if they were hungry? So it's actually never happened in the wild. Amazingly and very, very fortunately, I'm guessing, for the humans of Africa, they've never started to eat people, and there's actually many videos of them running up to wildlife photographers and cameramen and just sniffing them, running around. I've certainly never had a bad experience with these animals on foot. If they do see you, they just more act like they're surprised to see you than it being an aggressive encounter in any way. Right, we've got Joe Wellman keeping score on the times there. Joe, if you could keep us up to date, he is a very honest soul. But yeah, with the comments they flip through so quickly, it's difficult to read them.
It's got nothing to do with Mike's reading ability.
Ben asking, do their spots have anything to do with their ranking? No, their spots are more or less born with them. They don't really change too much once they're adults. As little pups, they are black in color, and then when they get to sort of 6-8 weeks old, you start to see their very distinctive coats developing. But then it's actually quite useful for researchers. They can identify each individual dog through its unique coat pattern. It's one of the ways that they can more or less get an accurate count of how many dogs are within a given area, even when that area is extremely large.
Feel this wind's turning now. So folks, this wind has just started picking up now. Mike mentioned earlier that we're expecting a bit of rain, and it's been a very hot day here at Mala Mala, and yeah, it definitely feels like the weather's starting to turn now. There's some clouds that are building to our south and west, and that's where our weather comes from. So yeah. I'll watch these ones for a while.
Guprit asking, is it plateau or flatland? So it is a little bit of a hill crest that we leveled out years ago to build our airstrip. And a lot of the impala come and spend the night here. So hopefully some of those impala might move back into this area thinking it's safe, where there's no cover for things like lions and leopards to creep up on them. But the dog's hunting strategy is very different, where they just go running after the animals and more or less run them into the ground, which works best if they can follow that animal across an open area and not give it a chance to rest. So it's a really good place to hide from lions and leopards, but a terrible place to hide from wild dog and cheetah.
So Jay is just asking, is the airstrip abandoned? Just for the lockdown period it is. There's no flights coming in over this lockdown period, but it is not abandoned. People do hire private charters and fly in. So go for it, Mike.
So Friday asking, where do we study to become rangers? So there's actually quite a number of different options and places to study, and then normally when you get to whichever reserve you're going to work at, they'll do their own in-house training again. So Mala Mala, we've got a mix of some of the rangers that have got a more academic route. Our most academic rangers have got 3 degrees, we have 2 of them, and then quite a few that have got 1 or 2 degrees. Then we have others that have got a more practical route and perhaps I studied game ranch management, and then we have a few that have just been doing this for so long before there was even the option of doing courses or studying formally. So yeah, there's a number of different routes to come at it. However, all of them, when you do start here, we all go through the same in-house training, which mainly involves learning all the roads and how Mala Mala specifically operates.
But if you, yeah.
Folks, behind us there's some more impala coming out onto the very northern end of the runway. I'm hoping that these dogs will see one or the other of the 2 groups of impala now.
They found the lines. Folks, so it's taken the other crew to find, it's taken them about an hour to find those lions, eh? And they've just found them where the lions were left, so I don't know what they've been doing that side, but I'm pretty sure they'll go onto Facebook pretty soon. But it has taken them a long while to find lions in the same spot where they were left. Which ones? Yeah.
All right, folks. So, for those of you that are not watching this on your phone, you can perhaps, if you have two devices, or you're locked down with a buddy somewhere, one of you can be watching the Facebook happening with Kruger latest sightings, and that's with the Kambula Pride, about 3 kilometers from here. And then there's us with the dogs. Both of us are waiting to see whose particular set of animals get active first.
Yeah.
My money's still on the dogs, because
my
lions are notoriously lazy, but I love them dearly.
So there we go, Nadav's just put the link up for everybody. If you want to go and see those lions, there's the link. Thanks, Nadav. Am I hearing a dog bark in the distance? No, what you were hearing was baboons barking. They sound very much like a dog. They sound very much like dogs.
What phone do you use, Gareth?
I use a Huawei. I don't know what model it is. Sorry, Wild Earth on my other device.
Reaper man, you just got a chuckle or two on the vehicle here.
So there is one vet school in South Africa. It's called Airstrip. It's just another question from Heriday. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name properly. But there's one vet school in South Africa called Airstrip, and all of the vets that are in South Africa have been to that school. It's based in Pretoria, and there are a number of vets in this area that attend to the wild animals out here. Kruger National Park itself has their own vets, and then there are a number of private vets that come and assist when need be. Does anybody know Joel's handle? Do you know? So Hriday Matadin, about the vets there, if you are interested in that, I'm going to just we're looking for a vet who visits Mala Mala often. His name is Joel, and he does some incredible conservation work here. It's worthwhile following his account if you are interested in that stuff. He's in and about all of these reserves, and yeah, he's got a very interesting Instagram account. You're just going to get their handle.
Otherwise, just look up wildlife vets.
Yeah, wildlife vets. He works
One
for wildlife
word.
vets. His name is Joel Alves, if you want to have a look along. Joel, surname Alves, Alves. And his handle is the_conservation_vet. So the conservation vet. Okay, here we go. Looks like the dog is getting live.
Tony Keith, so it was pretty hot until this wind kicked up, and now it's cooling down very rapidly. There's rain forecast for this evening. I'm sure you can see the grass and the dogs' tails blowing in the wind that's picking up pretty rapidly.
Yeah, King Quad, I don't think Joel is live now. That's just his Instagram handle I put out there if anybody's interested in wildlife veterinarians.
Manuela asking how often do they have litters in a year. So it's normally just one litter, or not normally, almost exclusively only one litter in the year. And usually in the winter so perhaps from May at the earliest through June, July, August. Check if that was on live on Facebook yet. 5055. Folks, we're just checking if the others are live on Facebook yet. I think they only just found the lions. They might be struggling with signal with where they are.
How far are we from the Mozambique border, Mike? I think you know that answer.
In a straight line, I think we're about 60 or 70 kilometers. There is one point on Mala Mala where you can see both the Drakensberg and the Lubombo Mountains. That's the border between South Africa and Mozambique. So it's not that far, in fact.
Johan Tienerson, thank you for putting that up there at the conservation vets. There is Joel Elvis's handle. Lions alive. Thanks, Nadav.
Just with regards to the color of the dogs, I've never heard them referred to as marble cake, but it's probably as good as any way to describe it. You know, pretty beautiful colors, and also very unique, like I was saying, for each individual in the pack. Some dogs are very dark, some very pale, but yeah, just beautiful animals. That's one of the reasons. Another name of theirs is the painted wolf.
Robin's asking Nadav if the lions are active. That strikes me as very lazy, Robin. Surely you've got a device or something you can switch over to.
Just a question, how far are we from Djuma? So in a straight line, my guess would be that's about 10 or so kilometers to the north of us, maybe a little less. But yeah, so where we're sitting, we're more or less at Mala Mala main camp. If you were to look on Google Maps, we're just south of the camp. Robin, not sure what to watch there. Robin, it's 2020, so I'm sure you've got a smart TV, smartphone, iPad, as well as your wife's phone. So pick one.
You know what? He's probably got every single live thing streaming right now.
One is moving behind.
Okay, there we go.
So some of the other dogs that were hidden away from us have just woken up. They're hiding, sleeping in the bush behind us.
Okay, here we go.
Alright folks, there's a bit more action perhaps. Joe, you've been keeping score, so maybe fingers on buttons folks.
Those impalas are still at the northern end of the airstrip. Those impalas that I showed you a bit earlier are still on the northern end of the airstrip. I haven't seen any impalas on the southern end, but I don't know if I can see that far. Actually, I do see some movement on the southern end there.
So Friday, we're not going to be going to the lions because there is another vehicle with them already. You're welcome to flip between the two sightings, or like I was saying, just watch one on if you have another device handy. So Nadav apparently said 5:30. Sure, if you make enough guesses, you're bound to be right sometime. question on how many are in this pack. So this morning when I was here, I counted 17 of them. So I'm guessing they're all still around. We've only counted 13 this afternoon, but I'm sure that's just because some of them are lying in the long grass hidden away from us at the moment. Alright folks, maybe you can also just give us a hand and let us know how the wind noise is coming through. It's actually starting to howl a little bit here with the wind. So Gareth's trying his best to protect the microphone input from the wind, but let us know. So Jay is wondering what toothpaste the dogs use. So it's actually not such a bad question because their teeth are actually very white, and that's from, it's not so much the toothpaste as the toothbrush. So when they eating these animals like impala and so on, that fur helps to brush their teeth. And if you folks can see, there's a little bit of tumbleweed that went blowing there that all the pups got excited about. Okay, great folks, I'm glad the audio is coming through well. You can see those young dogs have just picked up part of that stick that came blowing through there. Welcome back, Jerome. We're still after that coffee though. Mita asking, is there a pack leader? So with the dogs, they actually have an alpha male and an alpha female that lead the pack. Interestingly, all of these dogs here are going to work together to help raise those alpha pairs pups. They're incredibly cooperative animals. The only animals that really go out of their way to look after one another out here. If one of them is sick or injured, they wait for that pack member to catch up, and also will regurgitate food for that. Animals like the elephants, they really do care about one another, but the elephants aren't really able to, or perhaps capable of, feeding one another if one can't keep up with the herd. Where the dogs, they'll actually, feed that individual. When they have pups, often it's the oldest or maybe an injured individual that also stays as a babysitter with the pups while the rest of the pack goes out hunting. When they return with the food for the pack, they'll also again regurgitate some of the food to that babysitter as well as the pups. So there's no loss to the babysitter and staying behind.
So I'm just going to zoom in on what we think are the alpha male and female just behind this wild dog here. They're standing up in the background. So just behind this dog, you'll see that there are two sets of ears behind him, and those two have been sticking together since the moment we arrived, male and female.
Grant Knock asking if any of them are collared, or the alpha's collared. Not that we've seen with this pack, but some of the other packs that we do see, they do have collars on. Jonty Bozis asking, does she have a large white patch on her left side? Not that I've noticed, Jonty, but maybe next time she gets up we'll have a look and see. Maggie and Gordon Higginbotham say hi, Gareth.
Hi Maggie, hi Gordon. Nice to see you on the feed. Excellent, still here as well. I know you're supposed to come out to South Africa this year. I'm sure that's postponed, but we're looking forward to you coming back for a visit.
Trandom saying it's looking like it's getting quite dark. I'm going to ask Gareth just to pan over towards the sunset. You'll see there's a lot of clouds closing in, but the sunset not quite as beautiful as yesterday, but not too bad either, even for that. It's not the sunset.
There it is. Sorry, Mike's head was in the way. Excellent.
So Shalevo asking, is lions the same as yesterday? Yes, they are. So from last night those lions moved, well, in a straight line perhaps 5 or 6 kilometers, but we're not sure how much they zigzagged in between those two places.
And yeah, we are going to be uploading a video on our YouTube channel where you'll get a closer look. If anybody was watching yesterday, you saw the 2 males fighting and they had a little bit of a tiff. And in the video that we'll probably be posting tomorrow morning, you'll get a close-up look at that one male's face. It looks like they've been at it with each other quite a bit over the last little while. So if you go to the Mala Mala YouTube channel, you'll be able to find all of our videos there, which are a little bit more polished, and you'll just get a closer look at the animals and also maybe some more details about the animals.
So Nyanda Pisi asking, what is the most interesting thing about the dogs? For me, it's probably this waiting for them to get active and then just seeing them go and trying to rocket around and keep up with them. I'm sure even watching at home you can feel the tension building now.
Right, so I'm not going to try and zoom in too much because once these dogs start running, I'll try and, it's a lot easier for me to try and keep them in frame if I am zoomed out.
Amar Haynes cheating again. To try and keep the left open for the comments. So Theo York asking, he's a male model. If you look at Trappers, you'll see him modeling stuff there. But yeah, Theo, I'm actually not sure what this particular pack's name is. There are 17 of them, so I'm pretty sure they'll be a well-known pack. Wellman, I'm going to have to ask you to police Amar's original call there. Meter Current asking, do they bark or howl or just make whimpering noises? So you've heard all this twittering of theirs. If they see a predator, their alarm call is a single bark like a dog would make. And then they don't so much howl, but if they're separated somehow, they make this quite loud hooting sound to call those missing members of the pack. Particularly when they've been hunting, say, impala. That chase can last 1 or 2 kilometers, and they do often get separated, so they have to make that hooting call to kind of regather the troops. Interestingly, when they missed, often they go back to where the hunt started, and they use that as a sort of a rally point. If they have caught something, then whichever dogs are there just try and wolf it down before it gets stolen, perhaps by hyenas or lions, and then they will also try and call the rest of the pack there. But they do regurgitate food to one another, so even if some of the stragglers are late, they might still be able to get a bit of a feed. Johan Du Plessis, it's a pleasure, and I hope you and your family keep on enjoying these videos.
Question there, how many teams of rangers are in the park? So we don't usually operate in teams. It's just under this lockdown period that we've currently split ourselves into teams just from a filming point of view. It's a bit easier to get different shots if there's more of us in the vehicle filming. Right now we need a driver, we need someone monitoring all the comments, and we need someone holding the cell phone for the footage. So that's why we are currently in teams. But otherwise, when we operate with guests, it's a single ranger with their guests on the back of their vehicle. And there are 22 rangers here at Mala Mala. Ron Shelton saying, I'm doing schoolwork right now. Lies.
Don't worry, Ron. I've managed to have a pretty good job so far, even though I might not have been the most attentive student. But don't let me influence your life. So you get back to those books.
So Jace is asking, what is recommended duration of stay at Mala Mala?
So most of our guests stay for 3 nights. We're really lucky, we've got an abundance of wildlife. So if you stay here for 2 nights, you're pretty much guaranteed to have seen the big 5. But 3 nights is what allows you to spend some time with the individual animals instead of racing from one sighting to the next. As you can see with this dog sighting, we've been waiting here for some time, but it is still exciting to sit and be able to watch and wait and see what happens and discuss other things, just as we've been doing now. And we're fortunate with the other rangers out. We know that there are some lions on the property that we can also go and see, so we can just move from one sighting to the next. If it gets dark, perhaps we can go to the lions, though for now we're sticking to the daylight hours, just to make it easier for filming. As a guest, though, the experience is a little different.
So Mike has been talking about Meter. He's been in charge of the comments there. Meter says, hi Gareth, we safaried with you last July, amazing time. Meter, nice to see you on the feed, please come back, I'd love to take you out again. Does this cam have night vision? I highly doubt it. It is my personal cell phone. He said 3 months. 3 months is a good time to spend here on Mala Mala. You'll see a lot of stuff in 3 months.
unfortunately we're having to wash our vehicles ourselves at the moment. We're also potentially going to have to maintain them ourselves during lockdown, so fingers crossed none of them breaks. I'm not even sure beyond the Land Rover what even model or year this vehicle is, never mind how to fix it.
Painted Wolf saying some Samsung phones that can do night vision. Now we're comparing phones.
Maybe on my next upgrade I'll get one of these night vision phones. So Danny S asking, how can you tell them apart? So with the juveniles, it's hard to see in the picture that you're seeing, but they are a little bit smaller. All of the youngsters in this area will probably be from this time last year, more or less. They might be sort of 10, 11 months old. So they're a little bit smaller, but it is very hard to see which are adults and which are pups at the moment. And these pups are actually going to have to help contribute towards raising this year's crop of puppies or litters of puppies. Males and females, it's easiest just to look under their tail to see who's who. The males are a little bit heavier bodied, but it's not a reliable way to guess. And then there are records. If you've ever seen wild dogs in the Kruger Park, they do ask if you've got photos of the flanks, right and left side, to send them in, and they use that for research, and they can map out where the individuals are seen and try and get a total count of the known individuals in the park.
So if any of you are busy, okay, I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a wildebeest or gnu that is alarming in the background. Was he alarming?
I think he was gnuing.
If anybody is streaming the lions, just what's happening there? Curious. Can you guys, if someone is streaming the lions, I also want to know if you can actually understand what Peter's saying, because he mumbles a lot over the radio, so we're just curious if you can understand him.
So Mrs. Lapwing, welcome back from yesterday. So there's 17 of the dogs here. Not all of them are in shot at the moment. We're filming the bulk of them in the middle, and then there's some to the left and right of the screen, north and south for you. Christine Prescott says the lions are flat cat, as well as Amber. Thanks for that. Glad Pete's not beating us in the exciting sightings department.
He speaks fine.
Yeah, so this morning I counted 17, this afternoon we only counted 13, but there are certainly some around.
Oh wow, there's a moon rising. I don't know if you'll get this on my cell phone, but there's a moon rise somewhere. There it is.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Unfortunately you can't see it all that clearly. I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit. It's quite a, I think it's a pink supermoon today. So there you can see the moon.
Yeah, once gas done with the moon, that's
okay. So if anybody is watching that second live stream, I've got a request. Won't you tell Pete to stop mumbling? Just type it on his feed and give us feedback.
Tell him love from Mike and Gareth.
Yeah. So I got my aunts online again, Jean and Sheila. Hi guys. Okay, we're going back to the dogs. Guys, we're just going to reposition here and get a slightly different view on these dogs.
Haley loves wildlife. We're not mean. It's just highly entertaining. We love it dearly.
Those other ones look like they might be getting active. North of the apron there. So that dog standing top left corner of screen is looking at another 3 dogs. So it's on the comment section. I'm going to put them in the middle. So that dog there is looking at another 3 that are on the airstrip, that are up and are looking towards the northern end of the airstrip. We're hoping something plays out here.
So a couple of folks asking, are we going to do this every night? So yes, what we're trying to do is find the animals in the morning, and you'll see a lot of the Mala Mala YouTube videos on our YouTube channel, and then in the evenings we've been trying to do the Kruger sightings for Nadav, and share our little part of paradise with you all. It's a lot easier as far as knowing where the animals are to find them in the morning, so that we more or less can guarantee that we'll find them in the evening. We were a bit nervous that the dogs weren't going to be here still this afternoon. Fortunately they were. The other guys had a little bit of trouble relocating those lions that we also found this morning, but you know, we're hoping that finding them in the morning, that tactic will help us with the afternoon feeds. Just when we hope to bring you this as a more regular feature, certainly during the lockdown in South Africa, but hopefully also going forward into the future. Maybe after lockdown we'll also have something a bit more high-tech than just a cell phone to bring you this. Sean Grant asking, are the smaller cats seen? Yes, we do see all of those species, and caracal as well. Though it's a lot harder to see those animals in the big cats like the lions and leopards, which don't really have to worry too much about hiding.
Looks like something might be happening here. Folks, okay, just get ready and bear with me while we drive here.
not sure if these dogs are from the same pack. Just hold on, there's some rocks here again.
Okay.
It might actually be a bit of an aggressive interaction here. We'll see how it goes. Luckily it couldn't be more open than Mala Mala's airplane parking bay. Animal lover Foxies, I think now's the time to start watching the video too, because things are kicking off here.
Yeah, this is where it gets exciting. Robin, nice thumbs up there, just thanks for that.
Folks, so this is Nick's time to shine.
Yeah, the original stick.
Even positioned us with the full moon in the background there.
Yeah, perfect.
Eve asking, do we not disturb their behavior? So Eve, these dogs have all grown up, as well as the other animals in and around these private reserves, so you can see they're not paying us a blind bit of notice. We're hoping that we're going to start paying more attention to the impala on the airstrip, but when they all started running around playing with one another, I think the impala all had a little heart attack and have headed for the hills.
Folks, so you can see the moon rising there. It is starting to get dark now, and we are, when it does get too dark, we will end this transmission. Even if we were out by ourselves, we would not view these animals at night. So yeah, just to let you know, we are nearing the end of our transmission, and it's been lovely having you all aboard, and it's been lovely having you all join us for the sighting. Yeah, if you do want to find out any more about the animals here, about what is going on the Mala Mala on the property itself, we are trying to film all these sightings and put them on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you can find a Rangers in Isolation series. You can see a lot of the questions today are actually answered in some of those sightings. You know, there's a lot of wild dog and hyena interaction in I think 2 or 3 videos. But yeah, please feel free to go and have a look there. And if you want to see or get to know our animals better, please head over to our website at www.malamala.com. And if you click under the wildlife tab, you'll find game reports. And in the game reports, you will find all the different sightings and what leopards and lions we see. And again, Nadav, thank you for all of your help. Nadav chimes in from time to time, and he's very interactive, helping us along the way here, and he's been a great help through all of these transmissions. So again, Nadav, thanks to you. We'll be in touch. Also, just one other thing, we had a Rangers photographic competition recently, and the winner was Dan Bailey, one of the Rangers here. Unfortunately, he is not with us at the moment, But if you want to go and have a look at some of those photographs, go to our Instagram account. Just look up Marla Marla Game Reserve's Instagram account and you can see all of those great photos. And well done to Dan Bailey again. Okay.
Alright folks, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see what we find in the morning. See what we can show you in the afternoon.
Alright, cheers guys. So the dogs also just want to say goodbye. We were talking about, are they scared of the vehicles? Have a look at all of them. We decided just to show you this. They've all come right up to the vehicle here.
Epic, Robin.
Okay guys, now we're gonna end this transmission for real. Okay, be safe out there.
The little encore. Go wash your hands, folks.
Yeah, cheers.